Local Women Magazine presents Local Women Podcast, the show for things that matter. The Local Women Sport Podcast with Denise Watson is brought to you by Go, fueling sport.
Hello, welcome to Local Women's Sports Podcast. And there's not many rugby players that represent Ulster and Leinster, but Jemma Farrell does, and she's with me today. You're very welcome along.
Thank you very much, Denise. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so I first met you. You were a teenager, and your mum was telling me all about your dreams of,
Playing rugby.
Rugby and your heroes, Johnny Wilkinson and David Humphreys.
Yes, very true.
It's quite unusual to hear a girl say that, and the fact that you started mini rugby really young. Can you let us know?
So I started rugby when I was age 6 or 7 at Banbridge Rugby Club, and I just mucked in with the boys. And I still remember at that age growing up and watching Ulster playing with my dad. And I remember watching David Humphreys kick a winning drop goal to win the league. I think it was the Guinness 12 or whatever it was back then. And I remember telling my dad, I'm going to be like David Humphreys one day. I'm going to play 10 for Ulster. And at that stage, there probably wasn't Ulster women. Didn't know if women played rugby. Didn't know if that was an option. But he took me up to the rugby club at the age 7, threw me out and said, go and play and see how you go. So... And here I am, still playing. But 23 years later.
Yeah, it wasn't all plain sailing because you had, there was no pathway for women's rugby then at all.
No,
so what happened to you then?
So for the age 7 to 12, I played at Banbridge. They were a club, and they still are a club. They're very inclusive, that were very much about giving equal opportunities, no matter what ability or if you're male or female. So some of the parents and my dad went every Saturday and made sure that I could change in the car while the boys were in the change room and I could play. And then when I turned 12, obviously there's the change in terms of puberty and all that, and I couldn't play then with the boys at that stage. So I said to Dad, what am I going to do? And he was like, well, you can go play some other sport. So I played various other sports, football, badminton, hockey, whatever was going. But I always knew my love for rugby was there. And it was unfortunate there was no pathway actually for under 10, under 12 girls, 14, 16s. But now there is, and there's been such a growth in the last 10 years of rugby within the grassroots game of clubs, but also in provincials. And there's under 16s, under 14s, under 18s provincial teams now happening. And even at national level, the under 18s, under 20s, which is phenomenal. The 10 years of growth and work that's been put in by volunteers and coaches and parents supporting it and sending their young girls along to grow the sport. So it's unfortunate that I was never part of that pathway, but looking back, I think playing with the boys and the growth that I had in the years of 12 to 18 of playing different sports probably helped me tenfold when it came to coming back to play senior rugby. So yeah,
because your career really took off, and you were one of the youngest. I think, were you the youngest person selected from Ulster for Ireland at that point?
I was very young, yeah. So at the age of 17, I was kind of flagged to go and sort of go down to Queen's University to get involved with their rugby programme. I did express an interest of studying at Queen's as well, so it was kind of going hand in hand. And then when I turned 18, I was able to play for Queen's, and within a matter of months I got picked up by Ulster, and then also the Ireland squad at that stage, and I was part of the Six Nations training squad, coming in as an 18-year-old. And that happens today now. There's 18-year-olds within the senior setup, but I suppose back then I was one of the youngest. I was still doing my A-levels while training in a Six Nations squad, and it was a big learning curve, I think. It was quite daunting going down at the age of 18. I think, looking back, I probably wasn't ready for it mentally. Physically, maybe. Skillfully, maybe. But mentally, I don't think I was ready for that atmosphere and that sort of high pressure, high performance stuff. So, yeah, it was pretty exciting, but it was tough at the time too.
Of course. And you've chosen a position on the pitch that is you've got such pressure on you. You're a kicker, you're an out half.
Yeah.
And you have had moments where the game depends on you, Jemma.
In a way, yeah.
So how do you cope with that?
I suppose it comes from lots of experience and being in different situations and playing in lots of different games and being able to manage teams. I think my biggest learning over the years has been how to work with my teammates and how to work with people. And that comes down to communication. So being really clear with my communication, having the right tone when it comes to communication. So maybe asking firmly for people to do something for you rather than just shouting or roaring at them. So I think that has been massive. So working on my communication skills, working on my interactions with others, working on how I read other people and how I read my teammates in order to get the best from them. I think as an out half and as a position of 10, like, you will only be as good as the team around you, and the team around you will only be as good as what you can be. So I think it goes hand in hand that you can work together to win the game. And I think in those high pressure situations, like, I've relied heavily a lot on my leaders within my teammates, but they've also relied on me. And I think there's that mutual respect and hard work together, I suppose. Yeah.
And in terms of going back, like, say, a decade, there was that monumental moment in history where Ireland beat the All Blacks at the World Cup.
Yes.
And that really did sort of send it on this upward trajectory.
Massive.
One of the girls from that team is Nora Stapleton, who is basically like the face of women's rugby and had been for a while, but she's somebody you've come into contact with as well. Yeah,
so Nora was a massive player back in that game, and I'd actually sort of trained alongside her in various different camps. But at that time she was sort of leading the team at 10, and it was actually through her then that inspired me in about I think it was 2018 that I took the jump to go down to Dublin to play in one of the All-Ireland League teams. And in hindsight, I probably should have done it slightly sooner, but 2018 was the perfect time for me to do that. And when I contacted her, it was great to get involved with Old Belvedere and then kick on my career then playing for them. And I must say, in the last few years, I've actually now started being mentored as a coach and as a player by Tanya Rosser, who is a key element of that winning game. Her being a New Zealander native, Blackfern,
yes.
And then for her to start 9 in the Ireland jersey and to beat them in that World Cup was incredible. So then to be coached by her the last few years and to be mentored by her, and now to say that she's a close friend of mine, it's great. You know, I'm learning so much of her as well, especially as a female coach in a male dominant sport. I think it's important to highlight that and what I've learned from her. So,
but it's something you've brought into your play as well. As with that level, you then the Leinster connection. Can you fill me in on how that came about? Because that's in the last year, was it?
So I have played for Ulster 2013 till 21, 22. I think was the last time I played for Ulster. And I decided I would retire from provincial rugby. Playing 10 years up, nearly 10 seasons with Ulster was intense on the body in terms of going season back to back into provincial camps, into provincial campaigns, and the results weren't going our way, and there was a lot of pressure. And I suppose me being a senior player, it was a lot coming onto my shoulders. So I decided to hang up my provincial boots and just focus on my club rugby, focus on playing for Belvedere, focus on going back to Banbridge to build the women's team alongside my husband. And there was just a lot of things planned. So I stepped back from provincial rugby, and then after last year's season with Old Belvedere, I had a really good season. Again, loved it. I was really enjoying my rugby. I was playing for Banbridge as well. And Tanya was the head coach at Belvo. And she was like, "Oh, do you fancy playing in blue?" And I was like,
back in the Under-Pros.
I was like, I don't know.
Ulster's big rivals.
Yeah, I had to sort of sit down with my dad, and I was like, "How do you feel about me playing in blue?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't know." I was like, "Yeah, I don't know either." So anyway, I got offered a spot in the squad, and just the more I thought about it, the more I couldn't commit to it. It was 2-3 times down in Dublin, during the week, and running my own business. It just wasn't going to work. So I sort of pulled myself in the squad, and I said, "Look, keep in touch. I'll keep up my fitness and stuff, and if you need me, give me a shout." And little did I know that 2 weeks before the end of pro, she was phoning me, and Tanya was phoning me, and she was like, "I've had a few injuries. Would you come into the squad?" And she had a chat with senior players within Leinster, and I came down, and they were the most welcoming girls. I was so nervous going in, obviously playing for Ulster. There's that rivalry, Ulster-Leinster. I'd played for Old Belvedere for 5-6 seasons, so I knew a lot of the girls already in. But walking into that team meeting for the first Leinster training session, and they were like, "Oh, did you get your passport? Did you get over the border?" All the usual crack that I had with them. And I came in, and they were just so welcoming and just so respectful, I suppose, of my career. And I was obviously very aware that they had already put in a serious slog over the last few months, and I wanted to make sure that when I came into that squad a couple of weeks before the Interpros, that I was giving my all and giving my best, but also respecting the hard work that the girls had already put in. And then I was really fortunate to get my opportunity to get my 3 caps for Leinster, my first cap against Connacht, and then my 4th cap in that Interpro final against Munster in the Kingspan, and to win the Interpro series. That's not something I thought I would ever do. Like, I played for Ulster for 10 years, and yes, there was times we were close to it, but we never really were close to winning that Interpro campaign, and to win it, and also to win it like under Tanya, like that was pretty special. It was her last year coaching Leinster, and you know, just to see her develop as a female coach, and yeah, it was just really special to do that alongside some of the girls, and I some of those girls are like my friends for life, you know. That's so great. It was a great opportunity, and something not to be missed. And I've a load of Leinster kit now sitting in my house that my dad's not too keen on, but
close the door.
yeah, he'll not wear the Leinster blue, but like he was there supporting me all the way. So yeah.
The Local Women's Sport Podcast with Denise Watson is brought to you by Go. Fueling sport.
Now, the coaching side of things, this is something now we have to bring in Charlie, because Charlie's a huge part. Charlie is your husband, and Charlie's a coach as well. So you're coming through as a coach. Yeah. So is it really good to have that other person that like sort of having your back and talking and bouncing ideas off each other?
It's intense.
Yeah.
Charlie and I met 2016, I think we officially met. I don't really remember him, which is really bad. But we met at a coaching course. And he nudged the boy beside him and he was like, well, that's Jemma Jackson. She plays for Ulster. I'm going to marry her someday.
Really?
And I didn't know this at the time. And then a couple of years later, then we connected. I'd got involved with Ulster under 18 girls, being team manager and sort of starting my coaching career at that point. And he had come in like to be an assistant coach. And then we got friends. And then all of a sudden, like we were having coaches meetings-ish. Lunches and all this here.
Going to the cinema,
yeah. Maybe kissed a few times, and then all of a sudden we were going out. Yeah. And so from 2018 we've been going out. We got married 2021, and we're 3 years married, which is crazy.
Great.
But it was really nice. So we started our coaching career similar sort of time in terms of like what our qualifications and stuff. Charlie went full time into coaching. He was with Dungannon Rugby Club, Royal School Dungannon. He worked with Ulster for several years. Coached their Ulster under 18 girls pathway. A lot of the girls that are now playing for Ireland, Charlie played a key role. The likes of Brittany Hogan and players like that. So it was really nice to be alongside him in that journey and to learn lots off him. He's a very different style of coach than what I am. Yeah. But we complement each other in a lot of ways. And probably in the last few years, in order for him to marry me, my dad made him sign to Banbridge. So that kind of sealed the deal. And then we started coaching in Banbridge Academy together, which is my old school. And started coaching the under 16 boys, the medallion boys there, and the senior boys. And it's just so special, I think, to do something together when we're married, but also like professionally working alongside each other. Do we have disagreements? Yes, a lot. Do we have a lot of times where, you know, we're backing each other to the end? We do. And I think being married almost like takes away that fear of like challenging or pushing back in the coaching element. But the house can be fairly intense. There's some weeks like we just have to say we're not allowed to talk about rugby for an hour. So, but no, it's great.
But congratulations on the success in June. What the cup that Banbridge won?
Yes. So Banbridge Women, again, something that Charlie sort of started up through his role as rugby development officer in Banbridge. He sort of took on the women's team and started growing it. And over the last few years, I've been able to go back the last 2 seasons to play and to try and help support him as a coach, but also to support the girls there as players. And it's been a great year. We got promoted a couple of times, and then we obviously won the Suzanne Fleming Cup in the Kingspan, which was special. It was probably up there with like one of my favorite games of rugby of all times. Because I was playing alongside girls that I grew up with, and they'd only maybe started playing rugby for a year or whatever, and just to win that and like to stand and sing our song, Star of the Countdown, and to be in the change rooms with the girls, like, and the bus trip home, like it was just one of the best days. Like, and the girls still talk about it, like, so yeah.
I have to bring up, obviously, business owner extraordinaire. You have your own gym, you're a personal trainer. Fitness is key to both you and Charlie in your life. Arise Fitness. The name has come from because you're a committed Christian.
Yes, that's right.
And you've built your business up. Tell me about your business.
Yeah, so 2018, I started out as a personal trainer, just going out on my own. And I started working in a gym in Portadown, and I got really friendly with a girl, Amy Withers. And just over the last few years, 2018, 2019, we started to build a real good friendship, and it was all based around, yes, health and fitness and business as such, but also around our faith and what we sort of stood for. And we had just such a real passion, we still do, for anyone coming to start their health and fitness journey, yes, to get stronger and fitter physically, but also to look after their sort of mental health, their spiritual health, and make sure that they, I suppose the slogan, rise up, you know, to whatever challenges they might face. You know, that challenge could be getting up at 5 a.m. to make sure their 3 kids are out the door and they're away working, or the challenge could be that they want to run a marathon. Do you know what I mean? So it just depends what people's challenges are, and we hope that at Arise we can provide that atmosphere and that environment that people can come in, be themselves, and really feel supported and really feel connected with others and connected to us as coaches. So it was really exciting. In 2019 we sort of started the whole like Arise training and rising up, and then 2020 hit and COVID.
And you had to go online with all of your stuff.
Yeah, we went online, created like an online gym space, which wasn't, it was like, it was good, but like it wasn't the same thing of connecting with people and seeing people in the flesh and stuff. So we got the keys to our building that we're currently in at the minute in 2020, and we took 6 months renovating the whole place and used that pandemic time to make the changes that we needed and open up a great facility. So so we're located at Portadown Golf Club. We have 2 floors. We have an exceptional studio with like the bikes and the weights and all that there, and then we have downstairs, we have a gym floor functional space, which is for our small group training and everything. So it's a great space, and
you love your weights, don't you? So your Instagram, Jemma's Instagram is just like she can lift
loads
weight.
Training like that. But probably looking at me now, you probably wouldn't think I train that much, but I do now and again.
You do. I know.
I can run 5K and that's about it.
That's brilliant. Listen, like you've told us so much about your life and all. I have to bring this up because it is a question that I would have been asked when I was reporting sport for the last 30 years. Why would you play rugby as a woman? Why would you want your daughter to play rugby? And what adversity or what sort of like challenges have you had when you say want to play rugby and it wasn't open to you? It hasn't always been positive, has it?
No. Flip, there's loads in that, like that question, I suppose. I think first things first, like, why would you encourage your daughter or your niece or a friend to play? I think it's what rugby can teach you. Like, yes, I think all sport can teach you certain lessons, but there's something about rugby that when you cross that white line, you are literally going to war or going to battle with 15 other girls against you.
Yeah.
You know, there's that like on-field, not hatred, but that like venom of like, we are going to battle and we're going to war. And
that's exciting.
It's exciting, but it's also building that strength and that resilience of physically getting hit and smacked about to getting back up again and giving it back even more, you know, and then the friendships on top of that. So yes, you're going to war and you're going to battle and you're getting that strength and that resilience and everything, but then the friendships that you make, like, you know yourself, some of your best friendships, some of your best relationships with your family is those that you go through tough times with and you come out the other side better for. And that's what rugby teaches you. It's like last Sunday when we were in the gutters and we couldn't see and it was raining and it was mucky and everything, but we were still winning and we were still doing it together and we were still putting in big hits and scoring tries and scoring points. And I think it's just the friendships you make there. It's the friendships you make in the changing room, on the bus trips, like in the clubhouse, like it's just so special. And even when you go and watch a rugby match, like the supporters, you all feel connected, you all feel part of it because you've been to war or been to battle against each other or with each other. And I think that's so special. So why should I get young girls in? One, teach them strength, teach them resilience, teach them the discipline and the respect that comes with a game, But ultimately, to create those lifelong connections and friendships that you might not get anywhere else. And I've played sport. I've been in badminton circles. I've been in football circles, hockey circles. Is the friendships the same? I would argue and say
so stronger with rugby.
They're almost stronger with rugby. So I would definitely go down that route. Has there been adversity? Yes. Like, of course, there's people that still say, oh, it's a manly sport, or it should be just played by men. And of course it is. It is quite a masculine sport. You're physically hitting people and tackling people and wrestling. But there's also like that inner warrior, I think, in every female that you want to go and do your best.
Yeah.
And it's a good anger management against your husband. If you have a bad day at home, you can go out and take it out.
It's been great just chatting to you, Jemma. Wish you all the best for your business and with your rugby career.
Thank you very much.
Here's some more silverware at Banbridge.
Hopefully
Okay.
soon. Yeah.
Thanks
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Local Women Magazine presents Local Women Podcast, the show for things that matter. The Local Women Sport Podcast with Denise Watson is brought to you by Go. Fueling sport.